Hello everyone, today we're gonna talk about C++, or we're gonna start in C++. For all of you to understand what's the difference between assembly, C++, C language, Java, go to my video which is called The Big Picture, explains what's compilation, assembler and all that. Here I'm just gonna start with the coding part, and today we're gonna use an online compiler, and I'm gonna run it also on my machine, which is a Ubuntu Linux machine. I'm gonna show you both ways. I'm gonna have another video for Visual Studio, but that will be later on. From now on, this first one is gonna be called Lecture 1, Introduction to C++. Each other lecture will be called in sequence, Lecture 2, Lecture 3. So please, if you want, keep track of those. Those are going to be really useful. Let's go to the online compiler. This is the online compiler, and I'll add a link to it in the description below. You can use it. It's really useful for who doesn't have Visual Studio or doesn't have Ubuntu. This is something that you can use. Now let's start. C++ is a programming language, high level programming language, and we use it to write programs. Let's see what a program consists from. And mainly, guys, this is what should you start every program with. This is a must. You're gonna have all this in it. They include IO stream, which is the input output stream library. It includes this input output stream library to use what? Here I can add a comment and say input output stream library. It's used for cin, cout, and cerr. We'll talk about that later. We're not gonna. This is used also for dealing with cout and cin. We can take this out and add something for cin and cout. I'm gonna show you in a minute. Why do we have it? It's to distinguish it different object to which class it relates, and this is the object oriented part. You'll take it in the advanced C++ class, but this is the one of the differences between C and C++. C is not object oriented. C++ is object oriented, meaning it uses classes, and this is one part of it. So now integer main, here my main function, and this has to be in every program. It's a must to have a main function, and we can have any other functions. You can have a function named Gaith, your name, whatever. You can create functions, but you have to have main. The compiler, when it compiles or runs, it goes and looks first thing into main, the first statement in main. That means the first statement here, that's what the compiler is gonna start with. And here we have two curly braces, opens the function main, closes it, and returns 0. This means one thing here: when you run a program, the control transfer control of what? Control of the machine. Who's controlling it? That's not you, it's the operating system. The operating system is given instructions to the CPU, central process unit of a machine. When you write a program, what's a program? It's a set of instructions to what? To the CPU. So now when we enter into main, control transfers from operating system compiler to the programmer. Now you're in control, you're giving instructions. Return 0 means return control to the operating system or compiler with 0, declaring success. There's no failure in the program, there's no errors. Mostly the first program everybody writes is the one we had previously, which is cout hello world. And here we can compile. Compilation will check what? The syntax, the grammar of the code. Is it right? Let's see. And you can look here. What did it run? G ++-O main, and this is the .cpp file, and it compiled without any errors. Now we'll do run or execute the program, and we can see it type the hello word here and the end line. Let's play around with this code and put \n, \n, let's put \t, and let's put here \n. Those are new line, and this is a tab. Let's compile again. You have to compile it again. No errors, and now execute. We can see how it differed here. It gave one space, hello, the tab word, and 3 1 2 3 end lines. The first program I like to give to my student is what? Write your name, first name. Let's do first name, last name, \n, and let's put a \n before it so it looks, we can see the output in a good way. And I'll do another cout, and I'll do major. You type your major, \n. Now I'm not gonna put the cout end line, I'll use \n instead of it. Now I'll have your major and school name. And I can do \n or extraction operators, end line, end line. And now I compile. It's compiling, and then I execute, run my program. This is in Visual Studio. What we did with what build is compile, start without debugging is execute. And you can see here it gave me 2 spaces here because I had this space. I'm going to take this space out, and I'm going to take this \n and see how the output looks. Now compile. Remember, compilation checks the syntax, semantics, the grammar of the program. Execute will run the program, and we can see here, this is the first line, first name, last name, major, school. This is your first program that you have to write. You should put here instead of those your name. And now how remember, those are comments. The compiler doesn't read anything. Those are single line comments. Can I have multi-line comments? Yes. For example, I don't want this, and I don't want to use this. It's / star, and I can do star. This is a multi-line comment. Comments, compiler doesn't read. Therefore, the programmer, for you, so you can come back to the code and understand it. Remember, companies are not gonna let you write a code and then you go after 2 years or 3 years they fire you, or you go to find another job and then another guy comes and he has to start from scratch, or he has to understand your code. So your code has to be documented. This is what we mean by documentation. Adding, like, let's say, name, date of description of a program, and here what you can put is just, I like to add printing name, first name, or whatever you want. Here we can do this. just want the whole code too, so you can be able to see it all. Now okay, a good thing, I don't want to write the whole code again, so I'm gonna open a terminal and I'm gonna show you how to run this on Unix, Linux, so we can show you different ways. And what I'll do here is open an editor, for example nano, and I'll name my file, let's say program1.cpp, and here it opened. Now I'll do control paste the code. Here's my code, same as this one, and you can see here, what did it do? G++ -o main. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing, and I'm gonna do it in a different way. Yes, program1, and I'm gonna do G++ compiler, and I'm gonna run compile program1.cpp. Okay, it gave me lots of errors. In function main, integer main, what do I have? Error, cout was not declared. Okay, that gave me the error because I commented the using namespace. Let's take it out. I was trying to show you that. But let's comment this. Be careful, we don't want this. Okay, it compiled. Now I can do .a.out a.out, and here's same output as we got here. Should be, where did it, why is it printing that one? Okay, the server is I can do execute, but it's not gonna, it's gonna give me, it executed it, compile, execute. It should give me an error on the okay, it gave me the error here, so it's just because we change it. Let's put it here. A way to solve this is to do std when I commented the using namespace. I can use this with every cout and cin std, and this will compile. What did it give me? Errors. Std end line. Okay, this has to be on a separate line, and I need to add std. Doesn't like it with okay, compile. It's slow because it's gonna run it on a server, it's not running it. Is there more errors? Did I use another end line? Basic. It's not liking the end line even with the std. Let's do this, \n instead of that, and execute. Compile, sorry, compile. It compiled without any errors. Execute, and here's the execution. If I go back to my terminal, I do clear, and I'll see running again here. I ran it, I didn't compile it again. So this is the first program. Another program that we can write is the, let's take an example where you have to add two numbers, and let's use a different editor, gedit, and I'm gonna name it program2.cpp. enter, and here I'll start writing my code. Remember, you have to have what? Include IO stream, include the input output library using name space std semicolon integer main and parenthesis and curly brace, and I end my main function with a curly brace, and here return 0, return control to operating system. Now I need to do what? Ask the user to enter two numbers and find the sum of those two numbers and print it to the screen. There's two ways to do this. First thing I need to do is, and here, define your data. Declare them. Declare your data. Remember, computers are dumb, so they don't know what a variable is. Now you'll have here your cout and cins. I'll tell you in a minute what cout and cins are. And here we'll have let's say algorithm, which is equation, which is I'm gonna add two numbers, num1 plus num2, and remember those are comments. Here, anything after those double slashes is a comment. Those are used for documentation to explain your code. The compiler is not gonna run it. The compiler is not gonna run it. And now finally I'll print results of whatever the equation is. If you break down any C++ code into those four parts, I think you're done. That's the easiest way. So define your data. What data do I have? I'm gonna enter two numbers. So how do I define two numbers? How do I declare two numbers? We have what's called data types. For example, I have character, and remember C++ is case sensitive. Character, integer, and long to represent decimal numbers, and short. And they're the same. The only difference between them is short can be 1 byte or 2. 1 byte meaning what? 8-bit. So I only have a range of numbers from what? 0 to 255. Integer, let's say it can be 2 bytes or 4 bytes. If it's 2 bytes, that's 16-bit, 2 to the power 16. So I have a range of number from 0 to 65,536, and that's gonna be negative 32,000 something. The range of my numbers to positive 32,000 something. Long can be what, 4 or 8 bytes. That's how they differ. What determines if they're 1 byte or 2 bytes? It's the compiler and the architecture of the machine. Every machine is different than the other. So whatever that machine is, those two declare decimal numbers. If I need real rational numbers or floating point, what they call floating, or I can declare as float, and I have double. And for whoever of you took assembly or foundation, I usually explain it in most of my classes. We have the 32 single precision model, which is the float, 4 bytes, and double is what? 8 bytes. It's just double the range, but they're the same. They are used to represent numbers with a floating point or decimal point. Example 12.5. In an integer or long, this won't be saved. I'll lose the 0.5 because it doesn't save decimal points. So now what else do I have? I have character. Now let's open this in a big window. So characters, taking one character, and characters in C++ are single quotes, and I have strings, but strings I have to include the string library. Here we have to include the string library with strings, so I'll have to have include a string library. And I'll do another quick example after this to input your name in a data definer. Data types: short, integer, long, float, double, character takes single quotes, string has double quotes, and by default a null terminating character is added to a string. So what's my program doing? It's adding two numbers. So easily I can define them as integer. That's the data type, integer. And I wrote them all the same way. Remember, C++ is case sensitive. I can define num1 semicolon, and I can say integer num2. This will work, but we'll prefer to do comma num2, so we don't have to do this again. And I'll comment it. Remember, it doesn't read it, the compiler, so it's like deleted from there. I have this, and let's try to distinguish between those. Okay, so it's better for you guys so you can know. Okay, those are the oh no, this is not one of the major ones. The major four things, remember: define your data or declare your data. Then I have cin, couts, algorithms, and print. Here, those data, num1, num2, they're not initialized. There's no data in it. So now, if you do here, let's do a cout here, just to check what are those. Cout num1, and let's do another cout num2, and I want to do here, let's do space. Remember, anything between double quotes will print as is in a cout. And here let's print num2. I just show you two different ways to do it. And let's add an end line here. And another end line here using the extraction operators. A cout uses the extraction operators. Let's save this and try to run it and see what it prints for us. How do I compile it? G++, and the name is program 2. Compile without any errors. I run it. 0 0, not initialized. Sometimes it might give you a big number. It's grabbing garbage from memory. So it declared two variables integer. It might be, this might be what, 2 bytes or 4 bytes, depending on the machine. To know how much exactly it is, I can say here cout and size of integer, and I'll do save. Size of integer, here it gave me 4. I should have put end line, make it look better. Always, every cout, get used to it, add to it end line. Let's go back to my code, and now those are data types, those are variables. We declared two variables. There's rules for variables. They can only start with a letter or underscore. So I can have integer num1 or underscore num2. They can't start with a character, so I can't say here, I can't say, just to distinguish it, I can't say 2 num is not valid because it starts with a 2, a number. It can only start with a letter or underscore. It can't start with special, it can't include special case, so I can't have num, I can't have, let's say, and plus. Those are not valid. Special characters are not valid. It can be 32 characters depending on the machine. So here I declared integer num1, num2 underscore. Remember that we had that. So here I'm gonna take this part off. I don't want to comment it because we have lots of comments now, and I don't want to confuse you. So we have 4 major parts. Now C in, C outs. I need to get values for num1 and num2. I'm gonna get it from the user. So I'll say C out, print friendly messages, please enter 2 numbers, \n, always try to use it, or end line, either one of those you can use. Semicolon. Every C++ statement ends with a semicolon. C out, enter. I can do Cn num1 semicolon, Cn num2 semicolon, but I don't want to do that. I want to add it to the same Cn, and I'll do, remember I declared it, I changed it, underscore num2 semicolon. So here I use friendly message to the user saying please enter 2 numbers. They'll enter here Cn, means anything you type on the keyboard is gonna go what? The end stream, it's gonna be saved in num1. The next one is gonna be saved in num2. Now what's my algorithm? Algorithm is C out, and now look, this is gonna be my algorithm and my print result, this one. I'm gonna show you the difference in a minute. Num1 plus underscore num2 semicolon, and remember, always add an end line to make it look better. Now I'll do save, and here I'll do program 2 build G++. This is compiling, building, checking the syntax, checking the grammar of a code, a program, and now here debug, start without debugging, which is running or executing the program. Here is saying please enter 2 numbers, 12, enter 24, 36. Always try, when you ask for CNs, 2 CNs, try not to put space, just do enter. It's much easier. Now it's up to you how much you practice, how much you change in the code. Let's go back to the code. Here I told you I'm gonna show you something different. I can do one thing here. I want to save this num1 plus num2 in a value. I don't want just to print it. So what we do is we can declare here another integer sum that will hold the value. That's the data type, that's the variable name, and it has to only start with a letter or underscore and don't contain any characters. That's good. I can add it here by doing comma sum. Either way you want, you can do it. And I'll comment this. Now I have here, I don't change anything to this. Now my algorithm is gonna be what? Sum equals, this is what I mean by algorithm equation. Always, if you find the equation for any program, it's easy to do the other part. It's really easy. All you need to do is translate whatever you have to C++ language. It's not that hard. And now we do cout. I'm gonna print sum and I'll print end line. Let's save, exit, and let's see program 2. Let's do clear first. I want to clear it. Okay, and let's show it in a big picture so we can see it really good. Clear. Now I want to do G++ program 2. This is compiling, which is building in Visual Studio. No errors. How do I start without debugging? And this is the execution or running of the program. Please enter two numbers, 65. I want to run the program again here, and now I want to put a really big number. That's okay, that's over 65,000. Okay, an integer was 4 bytes, so it's gonna take a really big value. Let's try to make the number as big as we can. This, what happened here? Why do you think it printed real quick? It took just the other number by default because it was a really large number. What I can do is I can go and change here, and instead of integers I can use what? Long. I won't change anything else, just long. Save. So now the range of my numbers is what? I have an extra. Let's compile and run, and let's put a big number. See, it added those two numbers. We also can have long if you want an extra range of numbers. This is the difference between short, integer, and long, and the size of memory. And always the performance of a program is measured by how much memory does it use and how fast it is. Okay, now let's go back to what do we need to do. Let's go back to the code and check it and see what we can add to it. Long. Okay, sum equation. It's always preferable to try to make your output look as nice as possible. I can say the sum of, and here I'm gonna do num1, whatever I had up there, extraction operator, double quotes. Remember, anything between double quotes, print as is, or I can do the addition sign, whatever you want, and underscore num2 I can say equals sum and end line. And here what I'm doing, I'm saying print as is the sum of. Now go get the value from num1 here. Where did I enter it? Whatever you enter here in num1, and print double quote plus underscore num2, whatever you have in num2, whatever you enter here, and the sum, the result of those. So let's save and now I didn't close it. Program 2, compile and run, enter two numbers. Still long, so see, this is like the output looks really nice. We can do other changes, we can do git edit, and I honestly really recommend doing that. I wanted to put C out. Here you can say C out, enter first number, do CN num1, and then C out, enter second number, and CN second number. There's another way if I don't want what? The user to input those values. Remember we said those are not initialized. Here I can initialize them and put 10 equals 100. That's the initial value for num1 and num2. Save, but here the user is not inputting it. So do you think that is a flexible program? No, it's not, and CN is more preferred, but it's good to show it. Here, the sum of 10 and 100, which I initialize num1 underscore num2. And now let's do another really quick program. First let's print this and run it on the, copy this and run it on the online compiler. Git program and see what's the result, and I'll uncomment that one. I'll run it twice. Okay, online compiler, and I don't need anything of this. Be careful, the last extra, yeah. And okay, no, let's comment this and see the output. Default terminal. Can I do clear here? No, I mean in the output. Okay, awesome. It took it like Linux. Oh, okay, awesome. Now I need to, let's do G++. Either or, you can type what I type in the terminal, or do compile, build, checking the syntax, the semantics, the grammar of the program. Awesome, no problems. And now I do execute, and you can see the sum of 10 plus 100 equals 110. Now I want to change this, take the commented part out. Why did the CN go? And I don't care, we can leave the 10 and 100 initialized, but when I call the CN here, it's gonna overwrite it. And now I can do compile, checking the syntax, everything good, no errors, and enter two numbers. It's slow. That's the problem with an online compiler. I don't know, I typed 34 and 12 and it still didn't appear, but I'm gonna do enter and see what happens. It took num1 as 0 main, so 1 minute, let's execute it again and see. Okay, I did it again. It's slow, sorry guys. Let's wait and see. Execute. I'm gonna put one number just in case. I don't want it to. And I think my machine is getting hot. I've been recording 3-4 videos. and downloading them, so that took why is it not liking the CN now? I put a number, enter, a number, enter. It's not taking it, it's taking 0. But anyway, you can run it, you can do it, you can try it. It's really good. The machine, the server is slow, and might be my machine also. But we run it here. Now let's go take another look on the code. What are the common errors? Common errors, one common error is people miss the semicolon here. Another common error, people miss the curly brace here. A common error, people miss the return 0. A common error, they don't declare any variable. Let's say I didn't give, let's comment this part and see what this is gonna give us when we do the CN, or if I had it as C out. This is gonna tell us what? num1, num2, undefined. The computer doesn't know it. What are they? That's why we declare what. That's why we define them. See, error, num1 was not declared in this scope. See, in num1, and it's telling you where the error. So you have to go back and declare them. Always try, guys, to read your errors. On every compiler there's errors. It will tell you what the error is. Missing semicolon, missing curly braces, num1 not declared. Don't just look at the error, you have one error and that's it. Try to know what the error and try to solve it. So let's go back to the code, and I can just take this out, clear it, on save. This is good for today. Tomorrow I'll post some extra video. I'm gonna try to finish most of the C++ class this week. I need you to do a lot of review before the final. Here, I'm gonna explain all of it. Hopefully this week I'll finish. So good luck. Let me know if you have any questions. You'll find a description of the online compiler. You'll find a link of the online compiler in the description below. Thank you, guys.